Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Brooke Brigham, I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham, I'm the therapist.
And today we are going to be talking about the Netflix docuseries, Sean Combs, The Reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone is talking about this. It's the number one show on Netflix right now. And it's a doozy of a docuseries.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this is not at all what I expected. I was kind of dreading watching it because it's like, oh God, 4 hours and more about Diddy. And God, what is there left to say? And then
there was a lot left to say.
There was a lot left to say. And this is very different. This is, okay. So there's 4 parts to this. And there's a lot going on, you know, in the media about how this was filmed, who filmed it, why, because there is some footage in the documentary. It's not a lot. It's maybe a day or two and a total of maybe 30 minutes worth of footage, where this is, you know, 4, 5, 6 days prior to Sean Combs being arrested and indicted on federal charges. And he was staying in a hotel in Manhattan, and he went to Manhattan because his attorneys were he knew this was coming. His attorneys were trying to negotiate a bail deal so that he could just go, get booked, immediately be released on bail, not have to go into actual custody. And so he was willing to put up his home in Miami, his home in Los Angeles, surrender his passports, his children's passports, his whole family's passports. And so that's why he's talking on the phone with his lawyers. It's like the first scene that we see. And so then abruptly it just kind of stops. We don't see much more. We see him talking to Mark Agnifilo, and he's very upset because he feels like, you know, they're not getting out anything positive in the media about him. He makes a good point that, you know, a lot of people, they're not getting their news from CNN or ABC or Fox. They're getting it on TikTok and online on social media, and that they needed to get this message out that, you know, he's just really taking a lot of heat. There's nothing positive or anything being said about him. And so I thought it was interesting because this is an attorney-client privilege conversation. I wonder if Mark Agnifilo even knew he was being recorded. But you can argue that he basically waived the privilege because the privilege belongs to Sean Combs. Yes. He waived it by having all these people in the room and a camera on and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, so he's trying to negotiate this, and then the documentary kind of goes through, you know, the first section is going through his history and whatnot. And then all of a sudden in the second section, we're talking about who killed Biggie and Tupac. And it's like, what's happening here? And as it went along, I realized, I think that this was 2 documentaries that they combined into one. I think that Netflix was already working on a documentary about Biggie and Tupac because, you know, the guy, Keefe D, who, you know, they say the Crip who killed Tupac, he's currently standing trial for his murder, you know, in Nevada. So that's in the news, like that's happening. So I think they were working on a documentary about this and about Tupac and Biggie and the connection and the killings, but they were also simultaneously working on a documentary about Sean Combs, and he was involved with it, and he was going to document, you know, him going through this whole experience. And so I believe that the people who were there filming him were Netflix cameramen.
Do you know? Okay, what I have no idea, but what I've heard online and what everyone's saying is that Sean Combs hired this independent production company to film him. He was gonna do something with this,
That's what people are saying online. There's absolutely no evidence of that.
and that the story is that he didn't pay them, and someone from Netflix or 50 Cent came in and said, "We'll pay you. Can we have
Well,
the footage?"
that's a theory, but
Mhm.
nobody has confirmed that. And in the interview, I watched the interview, the full interview with like Robin Roberts and 50 Cent and Alexandra Stapleton, the other
Mhm.
producer, and that's not how they present it. They're pretty vague about it, but they basically say that um they obtained it legally and it belongs to them. And so that's why when you film something, it's the footage is the property of the camera person.
Yes.
So if Netflix I'm just telling, this is my theory, but that was a Netflix camera person. Netflix was working on a documentary about Sean Combs and this trial and all this, and they decided to abort because for whatever reason I'm not quite sure. They just
Mhm.
decided, you know what, this isn't going to work. We're going to take this and we're going to combine this with this other documentary that we've already been working on
Mhm.
and make like one comprehensive documentary. Because it's not like they just in the last year went out and filmed all this stuff about Biggie and Tupac. That's been gone that's a huge project that's been in the
Mhm.
works.
Okay.
Because
I mean
it was only a year ago a little over a year ago that he was
Mhm.
arrested. I mean, I don't know. And then they're using 50 Cent basically for credibility because he brings this cultural credibility to the film, so it doesn't look like Netflix is just piling on and exploiting Sean Combs,
Mhm.
because 50 Cent does have this history of not liking Diddy, and
Mhm.
so it makes sense that he would be involved in something like this, and he's kind of legitimizing it
Yeah,
in the
I can
in the
that for sure. I
I
agree
think
with that.
he's happily being used for that purpose. I mean,
Mhm.
he's not, he's into this, but even when you hear him talk about it, he's sort of Robin Roberts is asking him all these questions that he barely knows the answer to in terms of production and
Mm.
how this came about. I mean, he can barely answer questions about it, quite
Hmm.
frankly.
Okay. I didn't watch the interview. What I thought was interesting was I was like, "Oh god, Sean Combs doesn't mind just letting it all hang out right there on camera, your camera crew." Like, he basically is talking to his attorney on the phone saying, "We gotta go. I don't care what country they're from. We gotta get someone who's the dirtiest, nastiest person, basically, to help me get my story out there." And then we see this other part where he's signing people's autographs, and then he gets back in the car and he's like, "Ah, God, I gotta take a bath." He's been out in the masses and I gotta
Yeah.
wipe my hands. I was like, "Ooh, you could tone that down." I mean, I can understand you're out there shaking a lot of hands, like wanting some hand sanitizer, but he
He
really leaned.
thought He
Yeah.
thought he was gonna be able to edit this. That's the thing. When he's being filmed, he knows he's being filmed. He's
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this thing with Netflix. This is gonna be my, when I beat this case, we're
Yeah.
gonna put out this documentary." And, he thought he would be able to edit that. He was gonna have final edit and whatever, um, when that time came. So he wasn't worried about, you know,
Mhm.
everything that he was saying.
Um, well, I thought high level, big picture, I thought it was very well done because I too was a
Yeah.
little bit like 4 episodes and everyone loves it and I heard everything but at the same time, I was like, God, how much do we need to dig into things? But I thought it was really well done. I
Mhm,
liked
it was
the
great.
flow of it for sure. And I think that it also gave us things that we hadn't had before, like more of an understanding of Sean Combs's early life, which I really didn't know much about, his relationship with his mother, which
Mm,
is
mhm.
fascinating. Um, these high level East Coast, West Coast things. You know, obviously everyone knew about Tupac and Biggie and all of this kind of stuff back and forth, but I didn't know all of the intricacies of what happened. So I appreciated that. And then, you know, even the Cassie stuff, even though we feel like we've seen a lot, you know, we know her story. It's like, oh, this is a different perspective.
Mhm.
So anyway,
Yeah,
I
no,
thought it was
it was
very
very
well done.
good. It was very good. Normally, after a couple hours of a 4-hour docuseries, I'm, like, ready to slit my wrists. Like, this one was really compelling and really
Yeah.
good, and that's why I'm saying this didn't just get slapped together in the last year. This has been especially the East Coast, West Coast section of it, that this is a meticulous, uh,
Hmm.
you know, rendering of this whole thing. So I know this was already in the works, and then they just
Yeah.
smush these two things together.
All
But
right.
yeah. So part one is, it starts with that scene in the hotel and talking to his lawyer and all of that, and then we get into the history of,
Yeah.
and there's like three primary narrators. Throughout this. One is Kirk Burroughs, who
Hmm.
was one of the co-founders of Bad Boy Records. And then there's Tim Patterson, who was a childhood friend and also was a A&R producer at Bad Boy Records. And then Mark Curry, who was a rapper and also worked at Bad Boy Records. So
Hmm.
these guys were, on the inside. They knew everything.
Yeah. Well, because I didn't know much about, like I said, I didn't know much about Sean Combs's life, but it seemed a bit like it seemed like Sean Combs lived under this, I don't know, cloud of his father and
Mhm.
who his father was or maybe wasn't, or who knows. But it sounds like it was this legacy that his mother decided to keep alive.
Yeah, his
Um,
father was a gangster, basically,
mhm,
um,
and was
who was
killed, yeah,
murdered.
when Sean was, what, 1, 2, very little, barely knew him, didn't know him at
Yeah.
all,
And then,
and
yeah,
s
then his mother, Janice, she just sort of picked up the torch and she became a gangster.
mhm,
Um, and, she dressed him up in these little, like, someone said, like a Harlem dandy, the
mhm,
hats and the coats, and she groomed him to be part of this
yeah,
hustler lifestyle.
yep,
And apparently she also beat him,
yes,
and very badly. Like, his friend, was talking about how, one time he saw her beat him, and the friend was like, "I've been beaten before, but
mhm,
that was like I'd never seen anything like that before." And
well,
so
and
the planting the seeds of this violence,
mhm,
very early on.
yeah. Well, they mentioned too at some point, I can't remember what part, where someone says he witnesses, Sean Combs hitting his mom,
Mhm.
like, beating her up, so this is very much right, like, this, you know, she got what she wanted, you know, she built this guy into, believing that the only thing to be is a
Mhm.
hustler, you know, and grifter, and you know, get yours, don't worry about anybody else. It's all about you.
Yeah, and
So,
she also, yeah, told him to fight.
mhm, because he
Said you
didn't
should.
want to fight. That was the
Yeah,
other
I mean,
thing too.
he was kind of a geek. He
Yeah.
was kind of nerdy growing up, and he went to this private, Catholic high school, and then went to Howard University,
Mhm.
dropped out when he was 19, and then he sought the hustler
Yeah.
lifestyle. Is like he didn't want to go down that road, and be an accountant or whatever.
Yeah.
He wanted he he got this internship with Uptown Records, which was this hot recording company at the time, and had signed all the big rappers and stuff, and literally worked his way up to
Yeah,
you
well,
know
You know what he did was I don't have the guy's name. Who's the founder of Uptown? Or
Oh, that's Andre, Harrell. Andre Harrell.
yeah, I mean, his friends say this, that he was like singular focus.
Mhm.
Again, I think this is why he's successful at this, which is singular focus and no fear and no I think this is the other part of it too, is when you've got someone who has such a deep personality disorder, it's almost like they don't have shame. So
Mhm.
it's almost like most of us would be like, God, am I going to bother this guy over and over again? Like, oh, let me find another internship or let me figure this out. It was like, no, he zeroed in on that guy, interned, and then ingratiated himself,
Mhm.
like, so much so that when that guy he moved, Sean had a quote unquote fight with his mom and needed to move in with him and just moved right in. Like, no asking
Mhm.
him, no nothing. And so
Yeah.
again, it takes that kind of personality to be like, "Oh, he's moving into a new place, I gotta get in there too." And then when he's out of town, I'm gonna throw a bunch of parties and throw parties at this house and do this and that. I mean, again, it's this, no conscience. No,
No.
like, should I not be trashing this man's house?
Yeah, and he was so obsessed with, so there was this guy, this another gangster guy, this Alpo Martinez, and he had this thing he did where he would film women
Mhm.
and having sex with them, and he wanted so much to be gangster like this guy who could do anything and be above reproach.
Mhm.
And that's when he started filming himself with women, an
Yeah.
act that he continued till he, went to jail. His whole life, like,
Mhm.
that was one of his things. And then would show these films at parties. And
Mhm.
one of the women who was suing him, of the, like, 100 lawsuits out there, this woman, Joy Dickerson Neal, who he did this to when
Mhm.
she was, young, in her 20s or whatever. I mean, he just started, it's so weird. Like, how do you go from being at Howard University to just becoming the most disgusting person and just finding the most disgusting fetishes and
Mhm.
habits and stuff, and just doing it, like,
Yeah. I mean,
with
that
no conscience.
I mean, that's the question, right? Nature versus nurture. Which was is this who he is and will be, and his mom just unleashed it, or did he have was there a time when he could have saved himself and been like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't listen to my mom. Maybe my mom doesn't know everything.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I think it's more about the father. I think that, I can't imagine what it's like to be a man and not have a father or father figure. And so, right, this is your dad. You never had good and bad with this person. You just had, so you revere them, you
Yeah, he
know?
didn't even know, he didn't have
Yeah.
any memories, I'm sure, of him.
So then this person becomes like the story, the legend, no matter, even though the father probably was not a good person. Then I think it's that. And I think that became his shining star. I think that he took these things on thinking, "Oh, this is what hustlers, players do," and then I think he really started to enjoy them, and I think that with, like, any other addiction, you have to keep pushing it, and pushing it, and
Mhm.
pushing it, and pushing it, and getting so
Yeah, well, he was always very violent. They talk about, so the mother of his, first son, Justin, her name was Misa, and they talked about that he was just beating her outside of, the Uptown Records office,
Mhm,
and just beating her in the street. I mean, you know, not not even attempting to, cover up anything that he's doing.
mhm,
But ironically, what really kind of made him famous was when he did this celebrity basketball game in Harlem, and 9 people were trampled to death.
mhm,
Um, yeah, ironically, like, that's what kind of got him, people knowing, who he
mhm.
was.
Well, one thing that this documentary really pulls the curtain back on is Sean Combs is not a genius mogul. He's
No.
not brilliant, and like, this is what we've seen with a lot of these billionaires. Elon Musk,
Mhm.
Steve Jobs a little bit, many of the men who get all of the accolades are sort of seen as the genius. No, they were just
Mhm.
the tyrants that
Right.
basically controlled other people until that person did what they wanted to do.
Right.
So I never thought, I mean, I think it was I never thought that Sean Combs was like a great musician by any means, but it's interesting to hear these other musicians talk about how how shitty he is,
Yeah, his
and
rapping was awful.
his rapping's awful. And then when you really stop and think about the songs that Sean Combs did, and then you think about Tupac, you're like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Tupac was 15 steps ahead of you. Like, he was
Mhm.
so much better than you, and people did like him more, and he was cute, and he was like, "Oh, okay. I see this now."
Yeah,
Um,
no, he was obsessed. Sean was obsessed with Tupac because he wanted to be him. He wanted to be the talent that he
mhm,
was.
yes,
And
have his
he
gifts.
and
Yeah,
he was also jealous of Tupac's relationship with Biggie because Sean wanted to be Biggie's best friend, and that
mhm,
just wasn't the case. And like
yeah.
Tupac and Biggie were actually friends because they had something in common.
Well, yeah, and I think Sean Combs wanted to, like, I think what happens with him is he sees people that are who he wants to be, he cozies up to them, and if
Mhm.
you lean in, you're like, "This is the worst thing I've ever done," and your whole life gets destroyed, and if you lean out, you're now in trouble.
Yeah.
Because Tupac was like, "I don't like this guy." I'm sure Tupac was like, "What are these videos you're playing?" I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but that he saw something pretty quickly that he did not
Mhm.
like about Sean Combs. Um,
Yeah, because he's fake.
yeah. He's fake, and the other thing too is if you really think about those popular songs like "Missing You" and, I'm trying to think of the other one, the "I'm Coming Out." It's like all he really did is take very popular songs that were
Mhm.
hits, huge hits, "I'm Coming Out," "Every Breath You Take," that's the background, and
They're
then
just samples, yeah.
you get a samples, and then you get a beat going, and then you just talk and you rap, but truly nothing he's saying is as dynamic or as interesting as what Tupac, Biggie, Kendrick Lamar, all these people, Eminem, are doing.
Yeah, he doesn't have an original thought.
Yes, that's a good way of saying it. He is not
Yeah.
an original thinker. And again,
Yeah.
this goes back to because he based his life on somebody else's story. He based his life on the quote unquote story of his father and what his
Mhm.
legacy should be. So that's the thing. I mean, I think that Sean Combs probably went to Howard thinking, "Oh, this is this is the first step in me doing this." And he gets there and he realizes, like, "Oh no, I'm going to have to do some hard work. I'm going to actually maybe have
Mhm.
to write a paper or two, or I'm going to have to do these things
Mhm.
that maybe I don't really want to do." Um, because for someone like Sean Combs, for someone who is so driven, he is the laziest. Like, he doesn't do anything original. He just steals. He just
Yeah.
And, I mean, when we get there, we talk about the drugs and all that, but I'm also like, "How is this guy still alive?" Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, 2 weeks of this, like, 2-week benders and all this
Yeah.
stuff, I'm like, "How is he
With, like,
alive?"
ketamine and,
Yes, and
yeah.
pink cocaine and 2
Yeah.
weeks of it in his 50s.
I know.
Not 20s, 50s.
He's lucky to be alive.
I don't know how he has you see him bouncing around, I'm like, "I don't think that's natural energy," and then you're like, "Oh, shit,
No.
yeah, no, it's not."
No. So,
Ugh.
yeah, at Uptown Records, he was acting like he was in charge, like he
Yeah.
was the boss, and so eventually, Andre fired him, but he was allowed to take, Biggie with him, Christopher
Mhm.
Wallace, because he had just signed there and hadn't really done anything yet. So he went with Sean, and then over so the West Coast at that point, they were doing very well. They had all the
Yes.
hits. They had NWA, Snoop, Dre, Tupac, um, and, the East Coast, not so much. So they teamed up with Clive Davis, and I guess Davis funded, Bad Boy
Mhm.
Entertainment, and 75% ownership went to Janice and 25 to his friend Kirk, um, in order to protect him from these lawsuits about the City College
Mhm.
deaths. And so
Yeah.
that will come back later too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the first it was the first time something really truly awful happened that he had a hand in, that he got away
Mhm.
with, and was
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, wait, this is making me more famous. So, let me double down."
Yeah.
Which again, I think that there are certain moments, because you see this from the beginning that people were seeing red flags very, very early on about this guy and stayed silent. I think that's the other part of it too, is a lot of people stayed silent for a long, long time.
Mhm.
And even that guy Andre, who is his mentor, you feel a little
Mhm.
bit like, wow, you're not revealing stuff. So anyway,
Yeah, I know in that culture though, I just think that yeah,
you don't talk.
you just don't talk about it like unless you're going to have some public beef, like
Mhm.
and he had those too, but yeah, he could have had a lot more.
Mhm.
Um yeah, so that section kind of ends with, setting up this East Coast, West Coast thing and how,
Mhm.
and basically, yeah, like they were copying whatever Tupac did. He did that I Get Around
Mhm.
video, which was really hot. And so he tried to recreate that with, and
Yeah, he just
poor,
steals. He just
yeah, poor
steals.
Biggie. Like he really was a victim. Like,
Oh god, yeah.
God, like he just was so used by Sean Combs. And then Sean Combs basically gets him killed.
Yeah. That was
He
very weird.
yeah.
Very weird. Okay, well, this moves into episode 2, which is all
Hmm.
about this East Coast, West Coast hip hop rivalry and, the environment, that 1990s hip hop environment of, weapons and bravado and, all of
Hmm.
that, what does it mean to be a gangster? And, this is also during the time when it's a little confusing, like, because I thought he was with Justin's mom, but then he starts dating J Lo. A lot of overlap with these women. I mean, and very obvious that Cassie and Kim Porter were in the picture together for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, so well there's a lot of gun drama happening like
Mhm.
in this section. So, yeah, the first thing was so he really Sean really wanted to work with Tupac. He was really obsessed with him and he wouldn't do it. And so they Tupac was in New York and they lured him to where I don't know, to some club or something,
No, a recording
a
studio
recording
to
studio, and
record with
then
Biggie
yeah. And so then when he got there, the elevator opens and someone shoots him like
5 times.
5 times. It's a wonder he lived. Um, and they called it a robbery attempt, even though
Mhm.
they didn't take his Rolex or,
Yeah.
anything else. Um, and Tupac knew that it was Sean who set him
Mhm.
up. And
But it also made Tupac also really hate Biggie. Like, he lumped Biggie
yeah.
and Sean Combs together because that then spurred on, which now takes a whole new meaning because so many of song "Hit 'Em Up," which
Mhm.
I've known this song and I love this song, but I didn't when he said, um, "But I fucked your wife," I was like, I just assumed that he was being like, "And I fucked your wife," and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
I
no,
didn't
he
know it was
really did
someone's
fuck his
yeah,
wife. He did."
exactly. I thought
I
it
was
was
like,
someone else's wife. I didn't
"Oh,
know it
no."
was Biggie's wife.
Everything that Tupac says in that song is absolutely true, and the best part about it is it's and he is doing the thing that I think Sean Combs is too scared to do, which is like, "Come and get me." Like Gavin
Mhm.
Newsom, "Come and get me, tough guy."
Mhm.
Like, you know, "Look at me go."
Yeah.
But apparently, Tupac slept with Faith Evans, who was Biggie's wife or
Wife.
longtime
I
partner.
don't know.
So I was like, "Oh, shit." And then if you see that Hit 'Em Up video, there's someone in there that kinda looks
It
like
looks
Biggie.
like yeah.
Yeah, and so you're sort of like, "Oh, okay." But it is, I mean, first off, fuck your bitch and the clique you claim. I mean, he is really pretty brilliant, I have to say. He has great lines.
Yeah. Yeah, I I don't know, so crazy. Um, yeah, so Puff is getting, bigger and bigger. He's signing all these people, Biggie, Faith Evans, that's, Biggie's wife, Craig Mack, who the poor guy.
Oh god, that guy.
He was nominated for a Grammy and was never paid a dime. And that was another thing that I can't believe Sean got away with this for so long,
Mhm.
is that these artists never got any money. They
No.
never got paid. They might get an initial advance, but after that they'd never see a dime, and he would tell them, "Oh, well, there's no money for you," because he was charging them for studio time
Mhm.
and for him, he was charging them so that he could appear in their videos.
Yes, yes.
'Cause he
Whether
wanted
they
to
wanted
be
them or not.
right, he had to be in everybody's video, can't
Mhm.
sing, can't dance, but he's gonna be in the video and
Mhm.
then pay himself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and, like, you have to pay for studio time, $95,000, a session. You had 4
Mhm.
sessions. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just padding, he's basically just embezzling from you.
Yeah, it's just a
Um,
shell game, pyramid scheme,
yeah.
whatever it is. He's living this lavish lifestyle and, the artists are just, not getting anything, but he was jealous of the artist's talent, and I think that
Mhm.
was part of why he was like, "I'm not gonna give you any of this," and it was so weird. He
Yeah.
just wanted to be in the limelight, and
Well,
it was not good.
yeah, and that whole New York club shooting, there were a couple gun incidents, but that New York club shooting, which has been talked about a lot because J Lo was there and involved,
Right.
whatever. What does she know? But basically, what Sean Combs figured out he could do is, I just don't ever have to take the blame,
Right.
So there was a young rapper who was with them that night, Shine,
Mhm.
and maybe Shine pulled a gun, but also Sean Combs pulled a gun, but I think it was maybe Sean Combs' bullets that kind of killed this person. And, I don't know, but Shine spent 10 years in prison and Sean Combs just walks along. And I think it's back to, didn't get caught for the basketball thing.
Mhm.
Get away with this. You're stealing all this money from everyone and you're getting away with it. And
Right.
no one can do anything about it. And basically he just, I mean, literally on the backs of all these people. And what's happening also, I think that's interesting right now is I think it was over the weekend that Taylor Swift documentary was dropped, like End of an Era. I think that's what it's called, this 6-part series where she talks about the era tours. And so people are kind of revisiting these moments that are big. And just about, you watch someone like Taylor Swift who gave away almost $200 million in bonuses.
Mhm.
I mean, six-figure bonuses I read somewhere, I know the truck drivers got 100,000. I read somewhere that each of her backup dancers got 750,000.
I believe it.
I mean, but money that changed all these people's lives. And it's just a
Yeah.
little bit like, you know, she too is a billionaire.
Right.
She
She
too
still
made
has
a lot of
enough
money.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she too is a billionaire, and she too, like, she took her cats on tour. Like, that's a baller. Like, that you gotta be a billionaire to do that. But it's like, but she's also paying people. I
Yeah.
mean, just to see the differences. And it's like,
Well, yeah, because Sean treated his artists so terribly, what
mhm,
happened so Suge Knight, who was, in charge of the, West Coast crew,
Death Row
Death Row
Records.
Records, he took care of his
Yeah.
artists, and so
Mhm.
they were going to start a Death Row East,
Yes.
on the East Coast. And so, everybody came, to New York City for these Source Awards, and this is right at the time when they announced this Death Row East, and people are beefing from the podium,
Mhm.
going back and forth, talking smack about East Coast, West Coast. And when you say everyone knows who you're talking about, You don't even have to say the name. They say
Yeah.
East Coast. So you're talking about Biggie and Sean. West Coast is everybody else. And so so then the shooting at the club, um, well, there was several shootings.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
There
was this is not the J-Lo one. There was
Yeah.
then another one in Atlanta. Because also Sean had this another one of his strange fetishes was he always liked to try to take away other artists or other people's uh side pieces or
Yes.
girlfriends. He was
Mhm.
obsessed with that. So he went after Suge's side piece,
Mhm.
and that was a big mistake.
Who was that?
Suge Knight.
No, no, no. Who was his girlfriend?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I
They
didn't
didn't
think they
say.
said her name.
Alright.
Um, so that led to another shooting at a club, and this guy, where this guy got killed. Um, and that they said that was the official start of the East Coast West Coast
Mm.
war was this shooting because I can't remember which side this guy Jake got shot. I can't remember what side he was on, but
Mm.
anyway, then I didn't realize this. I thought this was interesting. So then Tupac gets convicted of sexual assault in New York, and he doesn't have money to bail out. And so
Mhm.
Suge Knight visits him in jail, and he signs him
Mhm.
to Death Row Records and gives him $1 million for bail and some other advances. And then that he got out, and then he did
Mhm.
that All Eyes on Me album.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when that was the hit 'em up,
Yeah.
was on
All of
that.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Do we know much about this sexual assault that Tupac was I mean, he never went to trial. He died
No, he
before.
died before, yeah.
But we don't know, like, what the circumstances about that are,
No,
because
I
that's a
don't
little, like, I love Tupac, but I'm not I'm not okay with that.
I have no idea what the details are on that.
Yeah.
If someone
But
knows, let us know.
again, you can just wanna keep saying it's layered. It's so layered. Like,
Mhm.
he's getting away with this stuff. And I think the other part of it too is, listen, if he was just ripping these people off, I think that this wouldn't have happened. It's the proximity to fame.
Mhm.
It's the promise of fame and connection. So he now becomes the most important person. He now has all this power. And so people are willing to look the other way, to compromise their principles, to do things that they don't normally wouldn't do for the fame, for the
Mhm.
dream and desire to, because you've been singing in your childhood bedroom your whole life and now you have this opportunity to do it. Um,
Mhm.
he the thing that he was smart about is he knew what he needed to be and to do to get people to give him what he wanted and keep doing it over and over and
Well, it seemed
over
like it
again.
was just fear and
Yeah,
intimidation. I mean,
basically, but he knew, he
threats,
yeah,
threats of violence, actual violence.
yes.
I think
Guns,
that's
bringing guns into
yeah,
rooms.
having guns, um, yeah, all of it. And yeah, you're right. I don't know how he went for so long. Um,
Well, yeah, the media portrayed him as this baller.
yeah,
Like,
they exalted him like
yes.
this businessman, this successful, and black people looked up to him like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, look at this guy. He's made all this money.
Yeah.
He's going he's dating J Lo. He's in these celebrity circles, and I think a lot of it was a fear of well, we don't wanna, like, tear him down because
Mhm.
then that's just gonna people are just gonna be like, "Oh, well, yeah, he's just another thug, just
Yeah.
another gangster, whatever."
Because
Very
it's yeah.
complicated.
Yeah, because he's a self-made. I mean, I think one of his, former backup singers or whomever said, it's like he was what everyone wanted to be, which is like, building black wealth, building
Mhm,
black billionaires, and so, okay, I'm just gonna look away a bit.
mhm.
I mean, I think when it came to the violence in these gun charges, I think that's where the media looked away a lot of it. The sex
Mhm.
stuff never came out until recently. But it's also law enforcement. Where was law enforcement? Like, you're just gonna let him use shine and hang him up to dry. You're not actually gonna investigate, but it
Mhm.
seemed a little bit like, no, this is
No,
what
they
he
just
told us
wanna
is
they
gonna
just
happen.
wanna solve cases.
Yeah. And
That's their number one goal is to solve a case and close a case, and if
mhm.
someone comes forward and says, "I did it," great. You
Yeah.
know, saves us a lot of time and energy.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so now we are coming to the pinnacle of the East Coast, West Coast. This is in Las Vegas, September 1996. The Mike Tyson fight
Mhm.
is there. And previously, there was an incident where, I don't know, someone was trying to get at one of those death row records, diamond chains. And there was a guy who I think was a Crip or associated with the Crips. Yeah, he was, who he ripped the chain off of one of these guys that was with Suge.
Mhm.
Um, and anyway, they spot him that night at
Mhm.
the fight, and he's with Suge and Tupac, and he tells Tupac that's them.
Mhm.
And it's this guy Orlando Anderson from the Southside Crips, and he's associated with Sean. And this big huge fight breaks out, and Tupac ends up getting shot and killed that night.
Mhm.
But there was all it had nothing to do with this fight or anything. It was just that all these people had converged on Las Vegas
Mhm.
because prior to this, a plan had already been made
Yes.
to kill. It was supposed to be Tupac and Suge Knight were supposed to be
Mhm.
killed that night. And so this then we hear from this guy, this police officer who's on this task force to try to solve Tupac's murder. Um, and he tells the story of this guy, Keefe D, who was a drug dealer, and and his nephew was this guy, Orlando Anderson. And they're part of the Southside Crips. And so he gets busted for drugs, and he's looking at a life sentence, and they think he has information about
Mhm.
all of this. So they do a proffer session, which
Mhm.
is where they talk to him, and he tells them stuff in hopes of getting a lighter sentence.
Yes.
And it's not actually immunity, it's just that it means that they can't, whatever you say in these interviews, they can't use in court. Um, so he talks about how he had several conversations with Sean Combs, and they were introduced by another gangster, a guy named Zip from New York.
Mhm.
And Sean had told a room full of Crips, he said that he'd give them anything for Tupac and Suge's heads. And then again, later in a deli in Los Angeles, he told the same group of people to get rid of those guys. And they're like, okay, well, we want $1 million.
Mhm.
And Sean said, okay.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, they never got
Yeah.
paid.
He doesn't even he doesn't even pay the people that do the gangster stuff. He
No.
pays no one. That's the other part that I don't understand is why would anyone ever if you know he's never gonna pay you, wouldn't you just get as far away from him as you could? I just don't
Yeah.
understand that. But
Yeah. Now,
again, I
mind
think
you,
this is the coercion and the control. I mean, this is the because I don't wanna say, "Why didn't Cassie leave?" or "Why didn't" because we hear from some jurors from the case, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
these jurors really don't get it," but okay. Um, but y I think that that's that other part too, where it's a little bit like, I think he's a master at making people think like, "I will get paid," or whatever he
Oh,
gives
yeah.
them
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
enough to keep them around.
Right. Or
Um
he says, oh, yeah, I'm going to pay you, and has some excuse. And
Mhm.
what are you
Why
going
don't
to
I take
do?
you to this event? Because I think that's the other part of it too, is I think, you look at a lot of these guys who made no money from all of their time and effort building Bad Boy, building this business. And I think that was the other part of it too was, well, come with me to this thing, come with me to that thing. He pays for some clothes, he pays for some alcohol, right?
Mhm.
You're living this life. You feel like things are good.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and you have to remember all this is coming from some very shady, uncredible people.
mm,
However, this man, Keefe D, I'm not sure his real name, but he is currently being tried for Tupac's murder.
mhm,
So the federal government seems to think that, they have enough to go forward with
mhm,
this. So, yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's really, really crazy. And so, yeah, so I think they got a call. Did they say they got a call from Sean after this fight broke out and they said, they're there. I think they got the go ahead to go, like go
yeah,
find
because
him.
I yeah, because I think that Sean had been plotting to kill Tupac, and it just so happened, hey, we're all in Vegas together.
Right.
This was the Mike Tyson fight that just ended like within the first round, so everyone's
Yeah,
all hyped up. You just spent a bunch of
right.
money to watch a 5-minute fight, and so I think it was one of those like, oh, okay, convenient, two birds, one stone kind of thing,
Mhm. Yeah.
and convenience. And then I was like, oh, okay, great, we'll just go do it now. But again, they stupidly should have gotten half their money up front
Yeah.
because you didn't get paid anything.
Yeah. Also, you see that picture of Suge and Tupac, minutes before he got killed. They're just driving around,
Hmm.
windows down, driving around Vegas. They even got stopped by the police right before this
Yeah.
happened because the music was too loud or something. I mean, I don't know. There was no security. Where is security? Like now everyone has so much security and I mean, I'm
Hmm.
amazed at how these people they're just out
Yeah.
there wandering around with their weapons and doing their thing. And yeah, and then because they didn't get Shug, they negotiated some deal where, well, we'll give you 500,000. We're not going to give you 1 million, but they never got
That's
that
right.
either.
They didn't get that.
They didn't get that. They got nothing. I think they offered him something like $29,000 in the end, and then
I don't think he
he
got
didn't.
that.
No,
He
he
didn't.
didn't. But
Yeah.
that was the final offer. Um, so let's see. Oh, I think they did give Puff did eventually give the money to that guy Zip, but he kept it. He never
Yeah,
gave
Zip
it
didn't give
to
it over. So again,
QVD.
because he's a shyster too. They're
Yeah.
all criminals,
They're all criminals. So now
you
this
know?
QVD who's set to stand trial in 2026, he claims that his proffer was made under duress. So now he's taking it all back, basically.
Okay.
That's his defense. I guess.
But they can't prosecute him for anything he said in the proffer, right? So they have enough evidence that
Beyond, yeah, I
beyond that recording. So
guess.
what does it matter if the proffer was under duress?
Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was under duress or not because it can't go anywhere. That's not helping you.
Yeah, I don't
Keefy.
understand this. Yeah,
KVD, that's not helping your case.
what are they gonna if they can't? Because he basically confessed
Mhm.
in that proffer, but it maybe the confession led to some other independent evidence that they
Mm.
are using. I'm not really sure. To brush up on that.
So, and apparently, I guess there's not enough evidence to connect Sean Combs to it. So,
Probably not without Keefe D's testimony.
mm,
Unless, I mean, there are other people who could come forward that, because other people knew about this and the discussion about the payments. I think this guy Zip is dead.
mhm.
He's not available to testify. Um,
Because
but
that
I
was
don't know.
always one of the jokes about the Tupac murder, which is he was killed on the Sunset. He was killed on the Las Vegas Strip, like in front of millions, like tons of
Right.
people,
And no one
yet
saw anything.
no one
Yeah.
saw anything. And so, yeah, I do think there are a lot of people. Now, I think people saw him. I don't think they necessarily knew, oh, that's Keefe D from the Southside Crips. Like, I think that people saw the guy, but I think there were other people there that probably knew who that guy was.
Well, yeah, and
So,
Suge Knight probably got to look at the
yeah.
killer. And they asked Suge Knight in this interview they showed a clip of, if you knew who killed Tupac, would you tell the police? And he's like, hell no,
Yeah.
because he's a gangster.
Yeah.
He's not gonna do that.
Yeah.
He's gonna keep his mouth shut. He's not gonna implicate anybody or anything in any way.
Yes.
So, and then just 6 months later, in March of 1997, um, Sean and Biggie went to LA to film a video. And so at this point, the East Coast, West Coast thing is on high alert. And
Yes.
each coast knows you better not come to the other coast
Mhm.
because there's going to be
Yeah.
problems. But
Yeah.
somehow Sean is just taking Biggie out there and parading him around.
And he didn't wanna
Um,
go.
he
He did
didn't want to
not wanna
go. He was
go.
scared.
Yeah.
He knew his life was in danger. And they were on their way to go to London the next day, and he just wants to get out of LA. And then Sean cancels um that trip. Well, the night before was the Soul Train Awards, and Biggie was booed when he came out. And
Mhm.
anyway, so Sean cancels the London trip so that he can have a party over here on enemy territory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
S
I don't know if it was leaving the party. I think it was leaving the party. Biggie is shot in a car going down
Mhm.
Wilshire, and
That was
they
it.
say that he led him to his death.
Yeah. He did. Now, so the other thing was that there's that then very famous song, "Missing You."
Mhm.
That's the "Every Breath You Take, Missing You." And so one of the theories has always been, and this wasn't in the documentary, but I think I saw this on a TikTok or something where they were saying, isn't it fascinating how quickly all of that came about? That
They
many
say he
people,
wrote it before,
yeah, that
before
he
the
wrote it
killing. Yeah.
before, you know, and I don't know. I don't know if it was like, I'm going to kill some people, so I'm just going to write the song "Missing You," and
Yeah.
wherever it makes sense for me to do that. But that's when, and all of this is when all these other artists and many people on TikTok started making fun of him because there's these scenes of him in all white hopping around the stage singing, and everyone's ripping on his dancing and everyone's ripping on the whole part of it, and here he is on stage like, oh my god, I miss my best friend, while you now have killed him, and you're going to throw him this lavish funeral party, everything,
Mhm.
but you're not going to pick up the tab. You're going to make Biggie pick up the tab.
Yeah,
So
because
basically, he charged Biggie for his goddamn funeral.
yeah. Yeah, that whole thing, and Sting is there singing, and
Yeah.
yeah, Sean is prancing around like Cody Brown, like dancing
Yeah.
on this. I mean, he was just going off. Like this was his show,
Yeah.
This is all he made this all about him.
Yeah.
Um,
Because the people with the real talent, I mean, Sting can sing. He was great. He's got this whole choir behind him. They can
yeah.
sing. But it's just, he is just bouncing around like, I've just done a couple lines of this pink cocaine and I'm gonna bounce around. But yeah, it's when you really stand back and look at it, you're like, yeah, this is embarrassing. Like, what are you
Yes,
doing?
he's a big tool,
Yeah.
quite frankly. So, okay, so then part 3, it's called Official Girl, talking about the women
Mm-hmm.
in his life. And so, he I don't think he ever adopted Quincy. So Quincy is the son of Kim Porter and I'll Be Sure.
Mm.
Um and he was raised, in Sean's home
Mm.
when Kim was married to him, and I'll Be Sure had a lot of problems, and that's why I sort of think he might have adopted him, but I'm not sure. Um but
Well,
anyway, yeah.
yeah. So Kim Porter was the receptionist. I didn't know that. She was the
Mhm.
receptionist at the first, what was that? Uptown Music.
Uptown
Uptown
Records.
Uptown Records.
Yeah.
And he knew, and she was dating their biggest artist at the time, I'll Be Sure.
Mhm.
And so Sean Combs just zeroed in on Kim, and she's obviously
Mhm.
very beautiful. But the other thing was, I'll Be Sure, what, good looking guy,
Mhm.
smooth, very popular,
Mhm.
so he wants what he has. And so I don't know they don't really get into how eventually he wears Kim down and and I didn't realize they had never been married. I always thought they had been married, but so Sean Combs has never been married.
No, I don't think so.
Um,
Yeah, well, the first one was Misa,
yeah,
was,
that's right. Who was the
and
ex of who? Of someone also big.
someone at Uptown Records, I think. Yeah, he just stole women from other
Yeah.
people. Um, but yeah, he wouldn't give her any money for their son. This is Justin's mother.
Mhm.
And he was, yeah, starting to hook up with Kim, and I think he beat both of them.
Yeah.
It's violent with both of them, and yeah, that's part of his grooming
Mhm.
process, as we saw with Cassie. Um,
And it does come out that Justin did participate in these freak offs.
yeah,
Yeah, Justin was a part of it, which is really sad.
that's disgusting. Yeah, there was someone, I forget who it was, that it was their job to go out and recruit women to bring back
Mhm.
to the hotel for Sean and Justin.
Ugh,
That's disgusting.
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
he's yeah, sorry. So Kim kind of is the wifey role, right? She's like the
no,
woman that you
she's the wife.
she's the wife.
Yeah,
So she is the one that goes to the red carpet things and
right.
all of that kind of stuff. She's the one that has the kids. And it sounds like Kim Porter was very clear or knew what was going on. And it also kind of sounds like maybe they had a very separate lives for a long, you know what I mean? Just it feels a little bit like she was maybe out somewhere else in New York and he was doing his own thing and maybe he came home and maybe he didn't.
I
I
find
don't
that
know.
hard to believe, given how controlling he is. And
Mm,
he had a baby. So his oldest child with Kim, Christian, and then there's the twin girls. But I think in between those two, he had a baby with someone else. And he has a daughter who I think is just a few years older than the twins.
mm,
I can't remember her name or her mom's name, sorry. But and then he had a baby also when I think he was still with Kim,
mhm.
with another woman, and her name is Love. Or maybe Kim had already died by then. And she
Hmm.
died under these very
Well,
mysterious
and that
circumstances.
and that was one of the things I thought would be in this documentary
Yeah.
because I'll be sure, who obviously very much loved Kim and cared
Mhm.
about her, has always been the one to be like, "He killed her, he killed her. I know he killed her. I know he did something." Um, and I would not put it past him that he killed her just so he didn't have to pay her child support. Just because he had 4 kids with her. Like, he
Mhm.
had to pay a hefty amount every month to her for his children. And so I think he probably figured, "Oh, we'll just get rid of her. She doesn't want me anymore. So, she rejected me, so I'm gonna,
She also knew a lot of secrets.
yes, I'm sure that
She
too."
knew a lot of things that could really ruin him. I think that's probably more what he was afraid of. And I'll be sure thinks that Sean poisoned him,
Mm,
because he got very, very, again, something real mysterious, where he got very, very sick, went into like liver failure and organ failure.
mhm,
And I I think this, I'm not making this up. And he thinks that Sean had something to do with him being poisoned.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, anything could be true, but yeah, yeah, and then we see, well, we already talked about like J-Lo. That was weird. And do you think he ever like put hands on her? I think we would have heard
No.
about that.
I
Or
think we would have heard about it. I think that there are different I think these women are put in different categories because he
mhm.
meets J.Lo when she's, at the beginning of her success, but she's still a successful person. So
Mhm.
he's not gonna do anything to her, but Cassie, that's a different story,
Right.
right? She's 19 and she doesn't have the power. I think it's based on power. If he has more power over you, he is going to control you. So
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. So if you have more power over him, he is going to use you to get whatever it is that he could get because dating J-Lo did give him some more cred, you
Yeah,
know?
it legitimized him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all of a sudden he's going to the Oscars and the
Yeah.
whatever,
And she
it's a
wears
different
the
level.
famous Versace dress. that
Mhm.
famous dress that everyone, with him, and so now you're on every cover and every time everyone
Mhm.
talks about that dress, you're there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's this interesting thing where you go from episode 2, which is all about this public violence, to episode 3, which is, like, about this private torture,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
of Cassie, and we know Cassie's story, but
Yeah.
goddamn, she was beautiful.
Well,
Just
and
I mean, she still is, she's still stunning, but she just you look at her and that face and that innocence and that
yeah.
nineteen-year-old, and you're just like, "You deserved so much better than this."
Yeah, and to see how young she really was. I mean, she
19.
looked like a baby in this
Yeah.
footage at 19. And like she's from Connecticut, she's not like from,
Yeah.
Brooklyn or something. I mean, she's
Yep.
just a deer in headlights, and so she's dating this guy Ryan Leslie, and he's an artist of some sort. And again, Sean sees her,
Mhm.
she's with another guy, he wants her, so he basically takes her.
Mhm.
And then he promised her a 10 album deal.
Yeah, he signed her to a 10-album deal, which is
Yeah,
unheard
which I
of.
don't even think one album ever came
Yeah.
out. I think maybe one single was released or something. But yeah, he we know the story. He took her in and was paying all her bills and promising her this, record recording career and all of that.
Mhm.
But then there's also the Aubrey O'Day
Yes.
story. So she was on the MTV show Making the Band, the group Danity Kane, and apparently this Making the Band was the only black show on MTV at the time.
Yeah, I wasn't really this was not my era.
It's not my era either.
So, because we were already I think this is like a millennial thing. Um, uh, yeah, I didn't realize how big that show was, and I didn't realize how many bands came out of it. They were mentioning, well, this band and this band and this band. I'm like, oh, I didn't know
Well,
any of
none of
these
them ever
bands.
really went anywhere, I don't
But people
think.
seem to know them. People seem to
Yeah,
know or
from the
heard of
show.
them from the
Yeah,
show.
from the
Yeah.
show. But yeah, but he was very abusive. They had to do all these crazy things,
Mhm.
like walk to Brooklyn in the middle of the night and get him a donut or, whatever it was.
A peach pie
Yeah.
or something.
Um, it looked like a horrible show, quite
Yeah.
frankly. But he zoomed in on her for some reason, and then he started to try to groom her, and he was like
Mhm.
sending her dick pics and disgusting emails, and um, you know,
Yeah, and he's
she
such a charmer too. He sends a like no warm up, nothing. He sends her a dick
right.
pic and then he's telling her all the stuff he wants to do to her. And then at the end he's like, "Okay, well then I'm going to finish masturbating and I'm going to go."
Yeah.
You're just like, "Oh, you are smooth."
Oh yeah, and then I think in the middle of it he's like, you should come over and fuck me or something like that. It's like, oh my god. Well, and then he fired her from the band or the
Yeah,
show,
6 months
whatever it was,
later.
because she wouldn't fuck
Yeah.
him. Um, and he'd moved on to some new project. But also then it comes out later that and she was informed by somebody, can't remember who it was. Someone told her that she saw a oh, no, she didn't tell her directly. Someone came forward and said that she was at one of these parties at his house one night, and she opened up a bedroom
Mhm.
door, and she saw um, Aubrey O'Day being sexually assaulted by Sean and another guy, and that she
Mhm.
looked like she was like out of it, like
Yeah.
inebriated, maybe even unconscious. I don't know. Um, and Aubrey has no recollection of
Yeah.
that at all.
Zip. 0.
And that tracks because we all know and I guess this is a thing too, a la Bill Cosby, is drugging people.
Yeah, well, that's the other part of it too, which is you don't have like some men, it's all about, right, saying the words, how what can I do? But like this guy, I'm sure once he was rejected by Aubrey, he was a little bit like, well, I'm gonna show her, I'm gonna drug her, and
Yeah.
assault her. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of this. You have zero, or it's like you don't need consent, right? I'm not gonna you don't give me consent this way? Watch this. I'm gonna
Right.
drug you. And just how he
Ugh.
saw and that's just really how he saw women, even though he has daughters. This is how he saw women as something to be coerced, something to be controlled, something to abuse, something to be violent, like something to just,
Something he
you
was
know.
entitled to,
Yes,
you know,
entitled
and
to. That's a good way
if
of
he
saying it.
couldn't get it the easy way, then he's gonna get it the hard way, like,
Mhm.
ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kim was still around when Cassie came into the picture, and that's when they said Kim was the wife, but Cassie was the wifey, I guess, and she didn't know about her at first, but then, um, yeah, they show that thing where, like, he's on the red carpet taking pictures with Kim, and Kim and Cassie sort of pass each other, and,
Mhm.
I mean, she knows about it, and I don't know, um, very strange, but, I mean, Kim had these children and yeah, trying to get divorced from Sean Combs would be well, no, they were never
Nightmare.
really married or trying to get anything out of him, let's just say that.
Mhm.
Probably be difficult.
Yeah. Ay. Um,
God, it's just
it just gets worse and worse and
it gets
worse.
worse and worse.
All right. Well, let's go to the last part, which is sort of the reckoning. This is the reckoning, the lawsuits and how the everything starts to fall down.
Yeah, so Cassie files her lawsuit in November of 2023,
Mhm.
um, and accuses him of rape and all kinds of other things. And he settles with her the next day.
Mhm, for $33 million.
The next day.
So, and I think I mean, obviously, because that woman, Joy
Yeah.
Neal,
Joy
she
Dickerson Neal.
yeah, she had her incident with Combs was a good, 15,
That was
20
like
years earlier.
28 years ago, yeah.
But it sounds like because I think a lot of times people think that it was like, "Oh, he settled with Cassie quickly, and then all these people jumped on the bandwagon." I think it was like, no, the law opened
Mhm.
up, and I think that Joy, right, sees Cassie, doesn't even care about that, but goes, "Oh, this is my chance. Here I go,"
Yeah,
and to
so New
expose
York
this and
yeah, they did this thing in New York where they extended the statute of limitations and but you had to file within a year, but anything that
mhm,
was outside of the statute of limitations, any kind of sexual assault, this was sort of a response to, Me Too and all of that and
and Bill Cosby, and
Bill
let's
Cosby,
list
yeah.
all Harvey Weinstein and all these
Yeah.
other creepers.
So, yeah, so she files a lawsuit, the woman Dawn Richards, who was one of his artists,
And Danity
filed a
Kane, yeah.
lawsuit. A lot of people did. So,
Yes. It goes
and
on
this
and on
is
and on.
yeah, and this started the whole avalanche of, this investigation into
Mhm.
him for human trafficking and other things. And this is when they raided his homes and there were like over 100 civil cases filed, and there's still 77 pending.
Mhm.
So, okay, so the last section we're now focusing on, this was sort of a hodgepodge of stuff.
It's kinda like wrapping up the other stuff. What did you think about the jurors
Oh
that they
God,
interviewed? I was just like,
oh,
"Oh, dear God, these."
disgusting.
I mean,
It was, it was. This is why juries are frightening to me.
Mhm.
Um, you know, they just missed any kind of nuance.
Yeah.
Everything's very black and white. So this one juror, she's a black woman, juror 160. Um, she says that domestic violence wasn't one of the charges. Okay, well, yeah, we know that, but
Mhm.
that's not what this evidence was about.
Mhm.
It was to show the racketeering, the controlling, the
Uh-huh.
trafficking, the means, the patterns, the
Well, the other
yeah.
thing too is she says, "Well, I grew up in that era. I watched all the seasons of Making the Band. I remember." And she was the one that said, "I know this group and this group and this group, all the people."
Mhm.
How did she get in? Like, you don't feel if
Yeah.
it already feels like you have a little bit of a A
Bias.
favorable bias towards him. It was the other guy. It was that guy. I don't know his name. He was I don't know what juror number he
Sure,
was.
75.
He, I felt like, really missed the mark, and
Yeah.
this is part of the problem of these cases, and I do wonder if the prosecution maybe didn't do a good enough job of really setting this up. Maybe they did, but the whole thing, the whole coercive control, because his argument was, well, why would she go back? If she didn't
Yeah.
like it, why would she go
They were
back? Why
2
would she go
people.
back? It's like, dumbass, are you not
Yeah.
listening? He's putting guns on the table. He owns everything. He controls everything. He's dangling a 10 album contract,
Yeah.
like,
He said
but
that they're just 2 people in love. The next
yeah,
day after the fight, they're texting, they're going out. And then he says, "Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't have this lavish lifestyle and all these nice things and what,
yep,
not beat?"
yeah,
He said, "You can't have it both ways."
yeah.
I mean,
Which
this
basically, what he's saying is, in his mind, he's thinking, oh, she had this really nice lifestyle, and maybe they would get in fights, and maybe he would cheat or whatever, and
right.
she would get upset, and now she's just doing that. But it's like, no. And then,
Like, that's the price you pay.
that's the price you pay. And the other thing is, this happened, I think, in the third episode, where they interview one of the sex workers that was a
Yeah.
longtime partner.
8
18
years.
to 20 hours sessions.
Yeah.
18 to 20 hours.
No woman
Dear
wants to do
fucking
that.
God.
No woman wants to do
No.
that.
No, 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 no. They might want to spend 18 to 20 hours in bed with a man, like talking and cuddling and watching movies and eating and doing all that other kind of stuff, and maybe having sex part of it, but 18 hours. And this guy, I mean, the sex worker, I'm like, how are you you
How are
doing
you
this, right?
performing? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
How
I guess
how?
they
And then
took breaks. They took
yeah.
breaks for pop some Viagra, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it was all fueled by drugs. I mean, I think that's,
Yeah.
I think Cassie was, out of her, I think she was so goddamn high, out of her mind, barely there, probably,
Mhm.
body in the room, mind somewhere else. And I think
Mhm.
this guy, I don't know what he was thinking,
Yeah,
but
no, these jurors are frightening. And another thing that the woman said was that during the trial, like there'd be someone would say something and she would nod and she'd look over and she'd see that Sean is nodding. And then
mhm,
sometimes he would even look at the jury, when something didn't make sense to him
mhm,
and give this kind of look. And she would give the same look back. And
mm,
she's like she's connecting, they're
yeah,
connecting. She even
yeah,
said that like their thoughts were aligned.
mhm,
This is the opposite of what you should be doing as a
yeah,
juror, and it was so disturbing how dumb these people are.
yeah. And it's so frustrating that people always go back to, this is how I would handle this. This is what I would do. And
Right.
you take no consideration of someone from another country, someone of another gender, someone of a different sexuality. So, you know what I mean? Not one. So I think that guy was Indian, that juror. So it's like, so yeah, I get it. Your lived circumstances, maybe you
Mhm.
didn't have, but this woman's yeah, she did. And it's just the fact that it's like, what is wrong? I mean, do people not get that other people have different lived experiences? Like that
No, apparently not.
everyone has their own experience and their own perception, and they
Apparently
do
not.
things based on that?
They also both said that they didn't believe Capricorn Clark, who was
Oh, that he
his
kidnapped her.
assistant. Yeah, she was his assistant for like 8 years, and the first day of work, he told her that he would kill her if she wronged him. And because she's best friends with Suge's, the mother of one of Suge's children, and he thought he was afraid that she was
Mhm.
gonna wrong him, and so he threatened to kill her. And I think the producer, someone said, "Well, why did you continue working for him?"
Mhm.
I mean, that's pretty scary. Like, this is your
Yeah.
first day of work, and you get this kind of a threat. And she talked about how, she was used to dealing with really difficult people because her mother was a drug addict and alcoholic, and she was
Mhm.
around these people her whole life. And so this kind of didn't phase her.
No, this is how she's been shown love or importance or chaos. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, people go to what is comfortable to them. So yeah, someone else, that's the thing. Every single person that kept in and stuck with it had there was something that was attached to, the dream, something that
Mhm.
they were wanting desperately. So,
Yeah.
um yeah, that whole thing about the what it means to be a survivor, the personal cost of telling the truth, how much people will doubt you. What does
Mhm.
Capricorn have to gain by going in court
Nothing.
and telling everyone this guy scared her half to death and kidnapped her? And I believe the story because based on everything else we've heard about this man, pretty much makes sense. This was part of his MO. Do you know what I mean? Like, she is
Yeah.
describing something that was very much part of the MO, and this
Yeah.
is all about Cassie and this guy, Kid Cudi, and him being jealous of, Cassie. I mean, him being jealous of Kid Cudi.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was cheating with people,
Yeah.
but,
S
I guess she wasn't allowed to
No. That Capricorn
have a
told her that.
friend.
No, no, no. Capricorn
Yeah.
said, You're not allowed to do that. That's not how this works." But it goes back to that same thing of everyone can go, "Oh, yeah," because we've seen a video of him just kicking the shit out of Cassie and dragging her by her
Mhm.
hair and doing all this stuff, and it's almost like that juror, it's like, well, he wasn't being convicted for,
Right.
for domestic violence. It's like, no, he was being convicted for something even more.
Even
Domestic
worse.
violence is the
Yeah.
is the grounding, but it's like, if people can't see something with their 2 goddamn eyes, they also don't believe it. They also don't believe that that is true, even if you have several people saying the same thing. That's the other part of it. If you've got 20 different viewpoints, I can get that, but you've got
Yeah.
people where there's through lines to everything, you know?
Yeah, and then we have to talk about this guy, Rodney Jones,
Yes. Oh
Little
god. This
Rod.
Yes, yes.
This poor guy.
I remember when this lawsuit came out.
Yeah, he's one of the lawsuits. He's suing for, well, a couple different things. He was hired to be the producer of that Love album,
Mhm, the most recent
and
album.
he spent, I don't know, what was it, like almost 2 years, um, working with, Sean, and he also worked with Justin Bieber on a song that he was doing with had something to do with Sean. And, he was traveling with him, he was going everywhere with him, not getting paid, but being promised that, at
Mhm.
some point you're gonna get paid. And also
$250,000. That's what he promised this guy.
right.
He promised him $250,000, and I'm sure that guy was like, "Okay, I'll be down here for a couple months. That's totally worth it." And then he's there for a year plus.
Yeah. And, he's, um yeah, he's kind of, like, traveling around with him and was kind of whining and dining him a lot. But then things really got dark with, he starts grooming him,
Mhm.
and, and then he said in his lawsuit, he said that he believes he was drugged and sexually assaulted
Mhm.
because he would wake up in bed. Sometimes there'd be another woman in his bed. Sometimes Puff would be in his bed.
Mhm.
And he said he, woke up and he was sore
Mhm.
and didn't know what had happened to him. And he went to the chief of staff, this woman, they called her KK. Of course, she did nothing. Um, and then he never ever got paid for all that
No.
time. And he was hoping this would be a successful album and
Mhm.
he would, maybe get nominated for an award. Like, he was putting all his eggs in this basket.
Mhm.
And again, Sean Combs is just using him,
Mhm.
just flat out using people like they are just nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that
that was
and
really sad.
the other guy, what's his name? Kirk?
Oh, he was
This
sexually
guy,
assaulting Kirk, his friend,
so
and
his friend who he gave 25% of Bad Boy to, what
and
mind you,
made
he
him
gave
give it back.
and made him
He
give it back, but
threatened him.
this
Yeah.
is the guy who there would be no Bad Boy without that guy.
Yeah, he did everything. He
He did
ran the whole
everything.
company.
He ran the whole thing, and I'm sure that there was always believing that I'm sure he had a salary, but I'm sure believing that I have 25% of this. This is my
Right.
stake. There's gonna be a payoff of all of this in the end. And we hear about this, and we hear about the lawsuit, and apparently his lawsuit didn't go anywhere um, at the time. And then it comes out in the last episode where he admits that stuff had happened between him and Sean Combs. That Sean Combs, that apparently, I guess he was there for the parties, trying to break things up, and maybe I don't know what but it sounds like he was assaulted by Combs as well.
Yeah, he
I
said he was, but I think it was more the those assaults. I don't think he was drugging him and
mm-hmm,
assaulting him. I think that he was talking Kirk into it, and Kirk
mm,
was semi compliant. I mean, I don't want to
mm,
say he consented because he says he was sexually assaulted,
yeah,
but it was just a fucked up relationship where
yeah,
he's just too tied in with him, and it's almost like he would do anything that he asked of him,
mm-hmm,
anything that he wanted, and that was really sad to
yeah.
hear that.
Because I think of anyone, he and Cassie, I think, are the ones that suffered the most. It just feels like
Mhm.
he
For
suffered, he
years and years
years
and
and years, and
years.
the thing is that he became homeless. He had no money. Like, he has nothing. I don't think he has,
Mhm.
and he was suing to try to get something out of him because Sean Combs walks in one day with a gun and says, "I would need the other 25%." He tries to stand up for himself. It's back and forth, and, Combs is not gonna let it go, and now he's waving a gun
Mhm.
in your face, and so he signs it over, hoping for the best, and of course, it's all gone.
Yeah. Well, I
I
think it was a
mean,
bat. Like, I don't know. He came
oh,
in with
that bad,
a
sorry.
baseball bat. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, and then he fires him.
Mhm. Yep.
Ugh.
Yep,
I
yep, yep.
mean, I just the trail of destruction that this
Mhm.
man has left in just, you know, his he's only 56 or something.
Mhm.
Just the trail of
Yeah.
destruction, the lives that he has ruined, the people who are dead because of him,
Mhm.
all of it, like this him going to prison for 50 months
Yeah,
over
it's
this
nothing.
is nothing. Like this is 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 he going to be held to account for any of this other stuff ever?
I don't
I
know.
mean, there's no statute of limitations on murder. So,
Yeah, I mean, and in some ways, like that, we've seen this story in some way, shape, or form, different ways, which is, accountability always seems to come decades after the damage is done.
mhm.
And this is a bit of a problem because these institutions do not hold people accountable. And I'm sorry, but the entertainment business, they reward the results, what they see, album sales, this sales, that sales. That means you're successful. We never look at the ethics.
Yeah.
And and are they, how are they treating people? How are they doing things? And so that's the problem, is that if you are in it, it's hard to see exactly what is happening and what the end road is going to be. You're hopefully, if you're it's very easy to get um caught into it. And I also think the other thing that people aren't saying is that, like, Making of the Band was a great example of this. Of, like, now you've got a bunch of young people. Like, you're not dealing with Tupac anymore, or Biggie, or someone who's more established that knows what they're talking about. You're
Mhm.
dealing with a 19-year-old, a 18-year-old who
Yeah.
this has been their dream, and you just give them a giant contract and make them sign their lives away. And all of them signed it, even though they said it was a horrible deal.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is people will do a lot
Mhm.
just, for fame,
Yeah, and I also think there's this
attention.
false narrative a lot of times when it comes to, which it's true that in the entertainment business, yes, there's a lot of gatekeepers, and yes, it's this thing that a lot of people want, but I also think there's this false narrative that, okay, that this is what I have to do to become famous. This is what I'm going to have to do. Walk across the Brooklyn Bridge.
Mhm.
These are the tasks that I need to do. Oh, I need to go to this party. Oh, I need to kiss this guy. Oh, I need to maybe have sex with this person. Like, I don't see accountants doing this. I mean, that's the other part of it too. I think that the entertainment business has always been wrapped up in this
Oh,
thing
yeah.
of, um,
Yeah, you're
I
you're
can ask
expected to really
go
do yeah, you're
to go above and
do a lot of
beyond in many
stuff, yeah.
ways. If
Yeah.
that's truly what you want. And I'm sorry, I do think there are very famous actresses out there right now who probably did sleep with someone that we just don't know about, and they never came forward.
Mhm.
And again,
Ugh.
if you consented to it, I don't have an issue with it, but I'm saying that this is part of the problem. So, it's just not these industries are not regulated enough. It just ugh. And I think that's the other part of it too, is that he had this gangster. If he was this straight-laced guy, he wouldn't be able to get away with this. Like, the world would have an issue, but it was almost a little bit like typical, "Oh, bad boy." That typical male, like, "Oh," kinda
Yeah, well, look,
attitude.
if he's going around beating up people, shooting people, having people killed, yeah, then people are gonna be afraid of you,
Mhm.
and they are gonna do what you want them to do. If you say,
Yeah.
"Hey, you need to do this," 'cause, yeah, then people are afraid of you, it's like
Yeah.
you're Tony Soprano or something. I mean, it's like
Well, and
that's the whole
that's
that's that's the method,
yeah. And what people don't get is they're not cruel to you in the beginning. They're
Mhm.
great to you in the beginning. Love, love, love. We saw how he treated Cassie in the beginning. I'm sure, Cassie, I'm sure it was all love. 10 album love, 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 love. Now you now are under my
Mhm.
I own you. You live with
Right.
me. You have no other money or no other means of making money, and I'm going to dangle this in front of you. And I'm not going to beat the crap out of you the first time. I'm going to maybe slap you and then
Mhm.
apologize. Like, I'm sorry, abuse is it's never an isolated instance. It's a pattern that's sustained over time, and it's
Mhm.
created by systems. And god damn it. What are
God.
we gonna
Well,
do about Sean Combs? I don't wanna
I
refer to
don't
him as
know.
Puffy or P Diddy. You're just Sean just
He's
your
just
regular
Sean Combs.
Sean fucking Combs. You're
Yeah, I
nobody.
wonder I wonder
No
what's gonna
talent.
happen to him. I don't know if he's already I don't even know if he still has money or I think I have no
Well,
idea. I don't even
50.
care. I'm so tired of this guy. But
Yeah,
yeah, no,
50
look,
is
50
gonna
50
the
Cent's a
money.
good 50 Cent's a good guy. He's had his past and whatever,
Mhm.
but um,
But that was for
he
survival.
yeah, he's just happy to be he's happy to be associated with anything that's going to,
Yeah.
help further drag Sean Combs down. Um,
But
you know.
there's all these jokes now of like, gotta be more like 50 Cent in 2026, like let your pettiness run wild. And I mean, him buying up the first 4 rows of Ja Rule's concert so there would be no one in it, that's petty. I'm gonna give you that. But
Mhm.
him saying, okay, I'm gonna lend my, however it came about, I'm
Mhm.
gonna lend my name, lend my stuff, I'm gonna promote this, all of these
Mhm.
things, and I'm gonna speak truth to power is not petty. And our year started, everyone keeps pointing back to Kendrick Lamar and the Super Bowl and how that was petty. It's like, no. Yeah, him looking at the camera, say Drake, that's petty. But him getting in front of the world and in front of 127 million people and showing a visual example of how black people have been treated in this country, that's not petty. After DEI, Black Black History Month is canceled, and here you got this big game in the middle of February
Yeah, with all these white
with
people.
all these white people and the president and all these other people, and
Yeah.
what? He's petty because he's going to use this not to shove anything in anyone's face, but to just like, if you get it, you get it. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
sick of people calling these men petty. They're not being petty. They're speaking
Who's
truth to
calling
power.
them petty?
Well, that's the whole joke. It's more of this joke about on TikTok where, oh, the year began with Kendrick and it's ending with 50 Cent, and it's just like, no, we're this is what these men need to be doing. This is what
Yeah.
they're artists, and they have big platforms, and
Yeah.
this is what they're doing exactly what they need to be doing.
Yeah. Well, look, people have always used whatever platform they
Yeah,
had to,
to
and
say
they
what
have
they
the
wanna
right to
say.
do that. Yeah. I mean, Sean Combs was adding nothing to society. You
Yeah.
know, he was taking from society.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we're we're just pointing out the fact that he's a criminal and a monster, quite
Mhm.
frankly.
And that doesn't
And
mean you're petty.
he shouldn't be roaming around free. We'll see what happens, but
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll do his 50 months, and then, I think lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. I don't think anyone's gonna wanna touch him. I don't think
no,
anyone's gonna wanna touch him. So
no,
I think that basically all the money will run out. I think he will always live a nice lifestyle, but I think he's thinking he's gonna come out for a big comeback. And I think the reckoning is gonna be him
yeah,
realizing that no one wants anything to do with him.
nobody wants it. No one
No one
wants to
wants
come
to get
back.
anywhere near you. Nobody trusts you, and you have no way of making more money, new money, and everyone's watching you too. Like you're being, it's not exactly like
Yeah,
everything's going to be watched, and you've got about 100 lawsuits.
yeah,
So
yeah. And
let's
I
see.
don't know how many fans are still out there. I mean, after the verdict, when he was acquitted of the two big counts, they showed people outside celebrating, but
Hmm.
that's just a handful of people who were
Yeah.
kind of, fanatics who were out there. But I really wonder, I really don't know, because I'm not in the section of TikTok of people
Apparently, I
who
am.
who who are supporting this. No, but
Oh, supporting it. No, I'm not there.
people who would be supporting it. So I'm sure there is a section of people out there
Hmm.
who still support him. Um,
But that's not
there
enough.
always there always is.
There,
The people who still think OJ didn't do it and that kind of stuff. There's always people who
yeah, but
like that,
those
but
those
they're
groups are
very few.
small. Those groups
Yeah.
are small, and the media is not part of it, and the industry is not part of it. Do you know what I mean? Like OJ,
Right.
the
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 people who
industry,
count. Yeah.
yeah, OJ didn't star in any more movies or TV
Right.
shows or commercials.
Yeah, no one's
Um,
gonna wanna work with him.
yeah,
No
no
one's
big.
gonna wanna do anything with him.
That whole thing with Ciroc, I mean, basically promote this thing, and all he did was talk about it, and yeah, he got this huge bonus. It's like Ciroc, no label is gonna get anywhere near him.
No.
Nobody
No.
wants Sean John clothes, nobody wants any of this at all.
Yeah. Good riddance.
Yes.
Good riddance, Sean
Yes,
Combs.
yes, but apparently he spent a bunch of money. I think he spent like $1,000 to bring in food for Thanksgiving. So I'm like, "Good, at least be nice to these people."
Well, they're your new friends.
Yeah, they're your new friends, and listen, maybe some of them will wanna do some freaky deaky stuff with you. Who knows? Who knows? I would like to see
Oh.
you in there forever. Um, but I do wonder about his safety. If like, why not? If you're gonna be in there for a long, long time, wouldn't someone want to get that kind of cred to off him?
Oh, no, I don't know. I don't know. I have no
Yeah.
idea what's going on in there, but I think he'll be fine and he'll get out. And I don't know what kind of a life he's gonna have when he gets out, but it's not gonna be like it was. And
Mhm. Oh,
you
no.
know, it's done.
Yep.
So anyway, great
Very
documentary.
well done. Whether
Great
50 did
timing.
it or not, it was all good.
Yeah.
Netflix 50, whoever made it happen, very good.
Yeah.
Very,
No,
very well done.
they've been working on this for a while, so
Yeah.
you can tell. Okay, so thanks so much for joining us. If you want more content from us, we have a Patreon. We do a weekly bonus episode for our first tier, and you also get all of the shows ad free. Our second tier, you get all of that plus a monthly true crime bonus just for Patreon and a monthly Ask Us Anything. And you can also support us by subscribing to the podcast, giving us a review, 5-star review if you think we deserve it. And we're on social media. You can connect with us that way as well. And we will see you next time.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye.